Our next presentation is sponsored by Bodhi. Please welcome to the stage, moderator Brent Smith.
Can we hear me all right? Good afternoon, everyone. One more time, good afternoon, everyone. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm joined this afternoon by four very interesting individuals. Our panelists, we're going to discuss from check-in to check-out, the crucial role technology plays in guest satisfaction. So joining me, beginning at my immediate left, Vaughn Davis of Dream Hollywood, Will Gilbert of Bodhi and Think Simple, Walid Achi of Ford Partners, and Bill Lally of Mode Green. So to start us off, let's hear from everyone on the very first topic here, relating to revolutionizing the guest journey. How can advanced technology be a game changer in shaping the entire guest experience from check-in through departure?
Yeah,
so we'll start at my immediate left with Vaughn, and we'll...
Yeah, I can kick that one off. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, y'all. How you doing? Come on, let's give a big round of applause to Sharon and the team for putting this together. It's a phenomenal job. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for having us. I can jump in really quickly. How we approach the guest journey and the service culture at Dream Hollywood, but particularly relevant hospitality, is by understanding human psychology. Right? We are in the minds of our guests, and we look at all the data that's available to refine the guest journey, to create something that actually fits our guests that stay at our hotel. And we continue to refine that process by looking at data continuously and on a regular, consistent basis. And then we also utilize artificial intelligence. So I'll plug that data into my AI and I'll ask it some very probing questions. And then we also look at what are the current trends? What's happening in the social media world? As it's very important to understand that social programming is playing a major role in the way we all behave today. And then being aware of the new trends that are touching the new generations and creating experiences to best ensure that they have an excellent guest experience at our hotel. We also tap into a lot of real-time feedback from our guests. I think it's very important to listen to your hotel guests and really see exactly how they feel about specific areas within the guest journey that you create. And there's no limit to the guest journey. I believe that you can create something that's unique specifically to that demographic that's staying at that hotel, specifically in that submarket. And that's generally how we approach it. And I'll pass it on over to my friend here on the left.
Awesome, thank you. So my background is 20 years of installed systems, so audio video systems, lighting control systems, and learning from the pain points of trying to make all the systems work for the guest, we created Bodhi. So Bodhi is a cloud-based service. So right there, that's the technology that we're using for that guest experience. So end of the day, the guest has their phone, they can connect to these systems, they don't have to install any apps, everything just kind of magically works. We start with the guest experience first, and then we find the technology, or we develop the technology to make that experience even better.
Great, thank you, Will.
Great, thank you. We are using actually some of these components today in specifically one of our properties in the Bahamas, which is called Norman's Key. And Bodhi has been essential for us in introducing actually all these forward-facing applications to the guest by integrating all the back-end seamlessly. And it has worked tremendously for us. So from check-in all the way to check-out in a place like Norman's Key, Bodhi has been very essential, which is an agnostic platform that allowed us to have all the experiences all on one app, which is a web app, not even an application that we ask people to download on their phones. So it's been absolutely awesome for us to use, integrating it with the PMS, integrating with the Salto servers and everything else on the back end has been easy to use, very easy to use.
All right, great. Thank you, Walid. Bill.
Yeah, I think from our side of it, we're also technology integrators, and as Will had mentioned, we've been doing this for quite a while and trying to figure out the specifics of what hospitality requires in this, and I think people go on vacation, they stay at hotels, they do these things not for the technology, but to have the technology enhance their stays. And we're very careful to not have technology get in the way of that. So I think it's important for us as technology designers and integrators to make sure that the technology is there to enhance a stay and not to be in the way of that. So we're designing systems that are very simplistic, redundant, appealing to all demographics, and making sure that there's multiple ways to do things so that there's not a learning curve when you enter your room or you're trying to take advantage of some of the technologies that are being implemented. We want to make sure they're seamless. Again, with systems like you guys are developing, those are certainly helpful along making that path straightforward and making that an easy user experience for the guests and enhancing the stay and not complicating it.
And I just wanted to add one more little nugget. I think, the traditional approach towards the guest journey is, of course, check-in, pre-arrival, check-in, mid-stay, check-out, post-stay. We've actually expanded that to a feedback loop, continual feedback loop. So we also included social media in the guest journey. So after you've stayed at our hotels, you can connect on social media to Dream Hollywood's Instagram handle, and then you can see exactly what we're doing on a regular daily basis at our properties to give you more of an expansive view of what we offer. Our average length of stay right now is roughly 2.5 days, and for me, that's not enough because we've actually programmed every single day within our hotel, and we believe that you need to stay at least 5 nights to truly experience what we have to offer. And then the other thing that we've also done with the guest journey is we've really deployed a lot of the strategies from tech companies. We have a few of our tech friends here. You can wave to the audience if you want. But as you all probably are aware, technology or tech companies are becoming more and more commonplace throughout the world, and every company pretty much is becoming a tech company. So we look at all of our standard operating procedures and we audit them on a quarterly basis. And we review them and see if that code, our standard operating procedure, we call it code at our hotel, if that code is still relevant. Is the program still running? Because I think you're all familiar with coding in some capacity, right? When you're on your terminal, there's different lines of code. We take that same exact approach to everything that we do in our hotel, and we constantly refine and update, because we're in an ever-changing world. Things are not the way they were 25 years ago. Today's Google's 25-year anniversary. They've completely transformed the makeup of the entire world, so that we need to also be aware of that, cognizant, and make those necessary adjustments in a timely manner. Long gone are the days where you can wait 2 years to launch something. Got to launch it now.
All right, thank you all. So I'm going to ask Will and Walid if you would kind of chime in on this next topic here. So you've mentioned seamless integration. We have this pervasiveness of all these tech systems, agnosticity of platform, et cetera. So if you both could speak to us around integration of these different systems, serving an ultimate purpose of improving hotel efficiencies, reducing challenges.
Sure. So on the Bodhi side of things, the guest experience is very important. The app, the way that the guest interacts with the system is very important to us. But we also have all of the data on the back end side of things. So we're talking to the HVAC systems, talking to lighting control systems, water leak sensors, things like that. And so for the property and operational side, we have a complete dashboard that lets them go through and have proactive information. So we're not just sending tickets and say, hey, you would take a look at this. We're actually looking at that data, making an intelligent decision, because you start sending tickets and tickets and tickets, people stop looking at them, right? So when you start bringing all this data together and really boiling it down, we're able to make those decisions and then let someone like Walid know, hey, there's an issue. There might not be an issue the guests can perceive right now, but this system is not cooling as efficiently as it was a month ago, right? And so on the data side, that's how we're really helping the efficiency of the property.
It's also very important actually to keep in mind that when you have so many systems by independent vendors, by independent software vendors or hardware vendors, it becomes very expensive and very complicated for maintenance, for management, for operation to keep things in perspective. So using something as simplified as a Bodhi platform, for instance, in our world, at the island specifically, it made everything much easier for the maintenance folks to read the meters, check if the lights are on, turn them off if the guests have left. And the property itself is quite massive. I mean, we're talking about 7 by 1 mile long, 7 mile long by 1 mile wide. So, having people actually going around to check out the statuses of some of these systems becomes very expensive. So centralizing all of that actually on the network, centralizing all of that in one dashboard that can read from different integrated systems was key for us. Instead of having to get the API of whoever controls we're using or get the APIs of the PMS system and so forth, it was all already done, and it was pretty simple. Within 2-3 weeks, we were able to implement it at the island.
Great, great.
So very key.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've accomplished maybe a means of reducing the cost of learning and becoming intelligent about the situational realities,
Exactly.
right, before they produce problems.
Exactly.
Okay, great, great. So we've all kind of realized or suffered consequences of outdated technology in one form or another. So I'd like each of you to speak with that. We'll go from my far left. We'll start with Bill, if you would. Can you maybe tell us a bit about some of the risks as they relate to RevPAR, negative guest perceptions, and so on?
Sure. I think hotels historically were always places people went to see new things, to see the latest releases of movies, to experience tech they couldn't afford at home. And that's sort of completely flipped itself on its head now. There's no way that hotels can possibly keep up with how quickly technology is moving in the retail market or in the residential markets. And it's just simply an impossible equation for them to finance something like that. So the platforms that we're seeing are much more enabling the extension of people's homes and their personal media into guest room spaces and providing the pathways and the infrastructure for that, rather than hotels investing in hard assets that are going to be quickly be outdated because of the progression of technology. So I think from that side of it, if hotels are investing too much into hard assets, they are getting outdated too quickly, and they're going to be seen as stale, as opposed to enabling guests to just use their own mobile devices or their own content or whatever that might be, and keeping up with that, as opposed to trying to mimic that in a hotel environment versus what they already can do at home.
Excellent point.
Thank you.
Excellent point. I mean, we want to simplify it as much as possible for the guest. We want the guest to feel as if he is still at home, whether he's broadcasting his Netflix or he's using actually Amazon Prime or whatever they're using. It becomes a much easier experience for them. So keeping that very simple, and not infringing on their capacity of all the technology. So we keep it very simple for them, and we keep it very easy for them to use when it comes to the guest room experience. Most of the technology that we're talking about happens more on the administrative side, on the management side, on the operation side. On the front guest forward application, we keep it as simple as possible. We give them what they need. We give them access to, let's say, BLE on their phones, which is the access of applying actually the credentials to the room actually from their phone versus just a card or versus an RFID. We keep it very simple on their phone when they want to check in. And on the back end, we have all of these other applications, other systems that help us manage these properties and get the right information to the guest on time.
Thank you.
I know for me, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I grab my phone, right?
Yeah.
Especially in a hotel that I'm unfamiliar with, I'm not getting up and trying to find the tablet to do things. I grab my phone. It's a great backlight and great way to get things going. And right from there, I can start doing my room service, start doing everything just from my own personal device. And so, back to the outdated technology stuff, all those hard devices that are in the room today really don't serve a purpose moving forward. Because the first thing you grab is your own personal device.
Yeah. Rule number 1, don't buy the hardware. Make sure you all write that down. Don't buy the hardware. Lease it. Because as you all know, technology is advancing at a rapid rate. And because of that, next year there'll be a next iteration of the product. I'll give you a brief example. We can use Teslas, right? When the Model X was launched and full self-driving beta was launched, everyone was super excited. You have a car that's going to drive you. But what we didn't anticipate was that the hardware would be updated every year, so thus the newer models of those vehicles with full self-driving perform way more efficiently on the road than some of the older models. And then one of the other things for me with Relevant Hospitality and Dream Hollywood is we like to look at the internal and external guest experience. I recall my days at a front desk as a director of front office, with my front desk stance and reviewing everything that I needed for the day. And what I recall happening around 2017 with this big emergence of tech, I had about 12 to 15 tabs open on my browser that I had to jump between each one to address the guests in front of me and give them an excellent experience. It's too clunky, it's too cumbersome, and it's actually become a barrier for your team members to deliver seamless service. So it's really great to see that Bodhi has taken that into account and has deployed a holistic form of software that can help team members make predictive decisions on what's going to happen in room 925 within the next 5 months, because the room is being utilized 95% more than any other room in the hotel, right? Because then your preventative maintenance schedule will look different. We've actually pulled whole grids at our hotel. We know exactly which rooms are the popular ones. And I talk to my team. It's like, why do you keep assigning these rooms? Let's go walk this room. So we go and we walk the room. The room's in excellent condition. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, in actuality, because they assign the room so much, the team members that are doing real-time preventative maintenance in that room, and they're assigning it to all of our VIPs. So thus, they're constantly in that room taking excellent care of it. So my recommendation to any and everyone who's looking to deploy tech in their hotels and or create tech is to understand back to human psychology, neuroscience, behavioral science. Understand who's going to be using your tech. If you know anything about the younger millennials, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they've been socially programmed to utilize tech that has a social validation feedback loop, that all they have to do is press a button to like, share, subscribe, comment. Everything is seamless, intuitive. And then the UX too. It's really important that we build a UX and a UI that team members are actually excited to use. Can you imagine if you're at home and you're on your computer, and let's just say you're using, I don't know, Monday.com, right? The UX and the UI for that. It's very seamless, beautiful, easy to use. Then you come back to your hotel, and the dashboard looks like it's from the 1920s, and we didn't have computers back then, and it was like an Atari game, and the kids are just like, I don't know what to do with this. This is just, I don't get it. So when you create the tech with the understanding of how their brain works and how they've been socially programmed, thus making it easier for them to use. And the same thing is deployed to the external guests, which are hotel guests, because you need to understand the demographic of your hotels. What age range is staying at those hotels? What kind of experiences are they looking for? So if you're going to deploy tech, make sure that tech speaks to how their brain understands to utilize that tech. Otherwise, you're deploying vaporware that no one's ever going to use.
Yeah, great advice. Saying at another panel, that consumers care more about what something means for them, and also their relationship.
Right. How's it solving a problem?
Sure.
How's it solving a problem? Yeah.
Indeed. All right. So Will and Bill, if you would, maybe speak to us around how your experiences have helped you understand the complexities of deploying new technology. You have a little time for this. It's a very, very important topic here. And I guess where possible, tell us about how modern technology systems can be designed for easy installation in new property builds or even refreshes for existing buildings.
So coming from the installed tech world, these systems have always been so difficult to deploy. When a property is being built, it's actually almost easier to retrofit a property than it is to build a new property, because everyone along the line in the construction side of things needs to understand technology. And it just hasn't gotten there yet. And so all these systems get designed and specified and bought and ready to install, but they all rely on the core network of the hotel. They all rely on the software services like the PMS systems to be up and running. The door lock systems, all these things need to come together at one time with separate pieces of software, and it never goes to plan. Right? It never goes to plan. You're there 24 hours a day getting these things up and running. And so, going into newer technology with the cloud-based systems, where the actual hardware doesn't require a dedicated network connection, doesn't require any, I don't want to say planning, you want to plan for things, right? But it doesn't require much planning effort on the IT side. That's where Bodhi makes things so much easier. The individual controllers can call into the cloud. All the configuration is done through the dashboard. If the property wants to make changes to the sequence of operations, which happens all the time, the lighting designer comes in 12, 15 times, change this light, do this welcome scene, all of that, and it's constantly reprogramming. Well, on Bodhi, they can do it all from the dashboard. It's a live system. If they have a VIP guest coming in, they want to make modifications to these different scenes for them, no problem. They don't have to call anybody. The hotel can do it themselves.
Great. Thank you, Will. Bill.
Yeah, I think from our side, it's the most important aspect of technology integration, whether it's a new build or retrofit, is to allow for the time for the technology to be implemented. We never get a seat at the table. We never get built into a construction schedule. I won't say never, but generally, we're always the last guys in. So everybody else along the entire course of construction has to have done their job in order for us to do ours. And because of that, the timeline slips and slips and slips throughout construction, whether it's the tile or the paint or whatever it might be. We're always last. We can't do our job until everybody else has done it out of the way. And to Will's point, having to do all of that physically on site is an absolute nightmare. We get killed. It's always, we're always there working 24 hours a day out running into the openings of these hotels. So having platforms like this that we can pre-commission, pre-deploy, have a lot of these systems already in place and up and running because we already know what we've signed up for. We know that we're the last guys in, and the deadline is not going to change. The hotel's going to open on the day it was told to open, and we better be done, whatever that means, right? So having these tools and being able to off-prem a lot of this stuff and pre-commission or pre-configure and allow changes to be made quickly and dynamically that we're not having to go back and start over again are huge. And I think it's going to result in easier deployments, more flexible systems, and a lot less headaches as we come into opening days and turnover dates for these hotels.
Great. Okay, thank you. This reminds me of something Steve Jobs used to talk about: manage one's dependencies.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Sure. You want to add something?
Yeah, I can jump in. Did you want to?
Go ahead.
Solomon? Okay, awesome. So one of the things that we launched at Dream Hollywood during the pandemic, as everyone is aware, there's been a challenge with talent acquisition in our industry, and it still exists to this day. But we deployed our front of house robotics program. So we have 2 robots that deliver to the guest rooms, and we actually structured it in a way that it doesn't take away from any of the high value tip opportunities of our team members. I started as a bellman manager in training in this industry in 2010, so it's very important to me that we take care of our team members and allow them to maximize those tip generating opportunities. But one of the things that I experienced as a bellman was I'm talking to a guest and I'm looking to over deliver on the guest experience. They want to know where to go to dinner, where to go out for nightlife, what to do the next morning. That's like a 10 to 20 minute conversation. You can't do that with your device on your hip buzzing every 5 seconds because you have to go deliver a toothbrush, or you have to go deliver a comb or a washcloth, right? Those aren't high value interactions for those team members because they're not going to be able to monetize it. So what we did was we allowed the robots to deliver anything the team members don't want to deliver. They want to deliver the champagne, they want to deliver the red wine, they want to deliver the outfit that celebrity is wearing from Prada to the event at night. Fantastic, go for it. But it freed our team members up from those day-to-day monotonous tasks so they can be great and connect with guests in real time. And then from a development standpoint, I think one of the biggest challenges for us with construction of some of the hotels that we have, and of course we have 31 in the pipeline now, and we're deploying this new mindset for all of our new builds. It's understanding the journey of the robots, back of house and front of house. You have to build proactively so you have an everlasting product. As we see our world itself evolving at a rapid rate, and we're getting closer and closer to a type 1 civilization, some of the jobs that we hold dear to our heart aren't going to be as important to the next generation, so we have to be able to be prepared for that. And one of the biggest challenges was the elevator landing and being too small, and the hallways being too narrow for the robots to be able to pass through without interfering with the guests that's traversing through the hotel. So I always encourage everyone to try to build with a forever mindset, as much in the future as you can look. And you know what's fun for me now is my little AI buddy that's in my jacket pocket over here. He can help me with that decision making, and we don't just look at our industry, but we look at the world as a whole, because our industry, interestingly enough, is a living life science experiment. If you think about it, think about how much data you have in your hotels. You know everything about everyone that's coming in. So if you're able to build with that understanding and then be able to, you know, hopefully Elon will hurry up with Optimus and pilot one at our hotels so that then we can make the lives of our team members a lot easier so they can then deliver the experience that we're looking for them to deliver. I don't know, did anyone else see the robot vacuuming on the guest floors? Yes. I was so jealous. Big shout out to my friends here. Well done. We will have one in about 3 months. Cool. But great job. And what I saw were the room attendants with their carts and not having to have their vacuums to vacuum the hallway in front of the door, right? And that helps with what? Productivity, which helps with your costs, which then allows you to employ more team members to then deliver exceptional service to your guests to then elevate your brand and your hotel.
Thank you, thank you. All right, well, in the time we have remaining, so at my last panel, I put everyone on the spot, so I'm going to put you on a spot as well, albeit a different one.
Am I talking for 10 minutes?
No, we've got time. We're good. So in 1 minute or less, we're going to start with Bill. If you could make one bold recommendation to this industry, what would it be and why?
I think don't get stuck in the mindset of where today's tech is, in the sense of being open to incorporating new technologies. Don't be afraid of them. Make sure they're incorporated correctly. I think us as technology people often fail to understand that not everybody is a technologist, and we need to understand who we're actually selling to and who we're appealing to. So making sure that we're not afraid to implement that tech, but making sure that it's done correctly and targeted for who our customers are.
All right, thank you, Bill. Walid?
I think probably would just emphasize on keeping it simple. Technology is there to serve us. Technology is there to make our lives easier, whether it's on the management side or it is on the guest app. As long as we keep it simple, as long as we keep it easy for the guest to use, I think that's the best advice that we can implement and apply it actually early on.
Could we maybe say hold fast to the purpose?
Say
Never
exactly
forget
that.
the fundamentals?
Exactly.
Okay. Will?
I think, like what Vaughn says, rent, don't buy.
That's right.
You know, I'm biased as a software services company, but you know, if anything, the past few years has shown with supply chain and things like that is that the agnostic approach to the guest experience, to the management side of things, is really nice, because maybe you can't get something from someone, you get it from somebody else, but to the guest, it's the same cohesive experience with them using the actual room. And so it's really just embrace agnostic platforms, and software is what's doing everything now.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
thank you.
I have a quick two-parter. Number one, I would really encourage everyone to work with the tech companies that you're deploying at your hotels. For too long in our industry, we're going to deploy new tech and then say, oh, it's not working. Cancel the agreement. That's it. How many days out? 60 days term? Great. Press the button. What we do, and a great example is our partnership with a company that helps us with procurement called Price.com, is we are on the phone with them on a regular basis. So they know, here, we need some help with this. We need to understand how to better order in bulk for this product, and so on and so forth. Even with the robot company, I'm on the phone with them all the time. My team has been deeply involved with each iteration of the robots that have been deployed at our hotels. You name the tech we use, we work with the companies, right? The companies that are creating this tech, they might not know our industry as well as we do. So you can give some really valuable feedback to allow them to refine the product so it best suits you and your team members. And then the other really quick thing for me, let's see, I've got 28 seconds here, Brent. Let's start thinking about space tourism, okay? I'm gonna go all the way out there. You have Blue Origin, you have SpaceX, who else is doing it? Virgin's also doing it, but where's the workforce? NASA also has Gateway and Artemis. Where's the workforce? Who from the hospitality industry is going to be in lower Earth orbit running those hotels? Who's going to be running the service on the Virgin flights or the Blue Origin or SpaceX flights, right? So I really want to encourage our industry to start thinking outside of the paradigm of living here on this planet, right, in our little buildings, and think holistically. and start thinking about what we can do as a species to help our entire world, our civilization, become a type 1 civilization. And a big part of that is by raising our collective consciousness and awareness of what's coming next. Right? These guys are very serious about it. It may seem a little far-fetched for a lot of us, but I'm in a lot of those rooms and I'm connecting with those individuals to help them refine their programs. Who knows how to get food from Earth to lower Earth orbit in a time frame to support the life forms that are in Gateway or Artemis? How long is that going to take? All right? Who's cleaning the rooms? Who's making the beds?
Okay.
Think about that for a second.
All right, so
Go be great, everyone.
yeah. So so to close out, there's a very critical question. There's a philosopher who pretty much made a statement that went something like this: one's first step in wisdom is to question everything, and one's last step in wisdom is to come to terms with the same. So, have to always keep asking questions.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, and then leave something for for everyone else to contemplate and add to. Well, thank you very much. If you would, please let's give a warm round of appreciation for our panelists. All right. So I know they'll be walking around during the rest of the conference. So great minds here and there. So bring them together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone.